Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin Trade. Um, okay, so anyway, I think I last left off over why why Bitcoin would go to infinity. Hopefully I explained that well enough. Um, you know, if not, I mean, feel free to view the last episode from this one where I try to explain it. Um, and then where the value of bitcoins comes from, of course, that's the value comes from fiat money. So if anybody wants to complain about Bitcoin as um, you know it's not real, or it's fake, or just want to shoot it down, um, they're really shooting down fiat currency, because Bitcoin by itself is worthless. It, it's it's nothing. It's just, I don't know, computer data. So um, the value comes from fiat currency. So for anyone who shoots down Bitcoin, talking about how money's better than Bitcoin, it's backed by government and everything, well, it kind of, you know, it's sort of, Bitcoin sort of is backed by governments, I should say. So if the fiat currency that is backed by the government of where it came from, for example, I'm in America, right? So U.S. dollars are the legal tender here. Has to be accepted, no matter what. If I take it to the bank, they have to take that U.S. dollar and give me credit for it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm exchanging money for credit at the bank. And the concept of debt and credit is integral when you're going to be dealing in Bitcoin, mainly because most people will purchase through fiat currency. So instrument of debt and instrument of credit, you're exchanging credit and debt. Very similar to how the bank works, except you become the bank. This is your Bitcoin, in which you can, you are a registered owner of it. I mean, then as soon as you send it to someone, it gets registered to somebody else. So, anyways, and in this episode here, I'm going to talk about something recent that's occurred, which is Overstock.com accepting Bitcoins. It really piqued my interest. I never even considered buying anything from Overstock.com until they start accepting Bitcoins. I may have to cut in and out. I have my little girl here who is just interested in what I'm telling everybody here. But anyways, I'll do my best. So, excuse me for a moment. Okay, so I'm probably going to start buying things with Bitcoin, and so I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about something that I think eventually I'm going to have to address if I'm going to do this for a living here, if I'm going to really engage this as part of a way of life for me, is how do I you know I'm using the banking system right now to protect the money, of course, both sending money and receiving money, because if you're going to trade and you're going to make a living out of this, what you're going to do is basically you're going to put money in to buy Bitcoins, um, load it up to an exchange. I highly recommend that. Um, Whichever exchange you want. There's none in America, so it's kind of hard for me to say go to an American exchange and trade over there. But until that happens, you're going to have to go to the three majors. What I recommend, just because it's hard to manipulate based on the volume that's going through there. So that would be Mt. Gox. I have an account at Mt. Gox, and the reason why I have an account at Mt. Gox is because it's the highest priced. Okay, and not only that, but my wife is Japanese, legal alien, of course. But interesting enough, our my children are dual citizenship. There's some kind of agreement with, Japan and America somehow that apparently my daughters have Japanese citizenship as well as American citizenships. So, and Mount Gox is in Japan. Although my wife straight out said to me, we're never going back to Japan. But you never know. Maybe when we get old, and whatever case, I'm not going to rule anything out. Maybe we'll end up living in Japan. So she has a bank account over there. She still has her Japanese bank account over there with some money in it, I believe. So there could be a way for us to, you know, relocate to Japan without affecting our finances that much, and I'll still be able to trade and all that. But and then the last thing, oh yeah, sorry about that. So the whole point of that is how would I, self-report this? Because when you deal with financial instruments, especially if you don't go through a brokerage or something like that, which it's hard to do with Bitcoin because anybody can have it and it can be used as money. It could be, it's so the utility of Bitcoin is so great as a medium of exchange, a unit of measurement. It really is a unit of measurement. I do believe. I'm not an economist, but I mean, one Bitcoin, two Bitcoins, unit of measurement. I mean, is there any more complicated definition that I need to look up? I don't know. So basically, I'm talking about how to self-report because I believe there's a great solution for Bitcoin as far as how the not that the American people would really profit, or the American people would benefit. I'll tell you how I think American people would benefit, but mostly because, the IRS, your government, needs to pay back their loan. If you know anything about money, you'll know that they need to pay the interest. They're barely just paying the interest. I don't know if we'll ever pay. Well, debt is never meant to be paid off, really. So that's the true intention of debt, is to basically enslave you into work for money or whatever. Just put you to work. So again, when people talk about freedom, Bitcoin is freedom, they're talking about, I think Bitcoin being a unit of measurement of some kind of credit. So, you're giving up your debt for credit, and having credit is more valuable than having debt. So I think that's another thing people may talk about as far as the concept of it represents freedom. So they're getting out of a debt enslavement of some sort from, I guess, working. I mean, if you think about it, if you didn't get paid money, would you be waking up in the morning and going to work? Probably not. If you didn't get paid money for going to work, what would you be doing? Well, I don't know. I kind of like making money, and I find Bitcoin a good way to do it. So that's what I like doing. So working, I don't know if I like working, but I like making money. All right. So I'm going to talk about something about how we can report this as something that's taxable, and what I personally think should be taxed as far as how Bitcoin's used, and what shouldn't be taxed as how Bitcoin is being used. So I better write this down. This is some good stuff. I'm gonna forget. So let me write this down here. I think I already forgot half of what I was gonna do. So what I was gonna talk about. I'm gonna have to watch this video again. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, everyone. Welcome back. Sorry about that. When you start talking, this is live. I'm speaking. From my mind, nothing scripted here to you. So, all right. So I had to listen to myself, ironically. Uh, so yeah, I wanted to talk about let me see, Overstock.com, and then other retailers and other ways where you can use your Bitcoin as purchases. You can purchase. You can take your credit and pass on, turn it into debt and give it to somebody. And then the IRS tax situation. How I personally feel that things should be taxed. I mean, I don't know if you need any new laws because all the laws in place right now will apply to Bitcoin. Depends how you want to apply it. And then how between Overstock.com or other retailers accepting Bitcoins as a method of payment, and how to report to the IRS on any profits. How this, my opinion about how it should be taxed and how it can help everybody. Okay, how it can generate wealth for investors. How, regarding how it could be taxed, how it could generate wealth, generate income for the IRS, and generate jobs. I think that's the most important thing in America is that we need jobs. Okay, I understand about money, I understand how it works, but there's some really negative um, impacts when um, I would say when money's abused. I think you can abuse money, and the way you abuse money is that you tend to overlend, you tend to over leverage, um, you know, I guess your reserve. Um, so over lending on a fractional reserve can sometimes be very dangerous because in the end, when everybody wants to cash out, well, there's no money to cash out. You know, very similar to a lot of other financial instruments where there's barely any money in it or any actual assets tied to, you know, commonly a derivative. Um, so uh, anyways, so when it gets abused, it may not affect your high net worth individuals, but it really affects a lot of people out in the streets. I'm talking about Main Street, not in a corner somewhere. All right, I'm talking about Main Street. People who really use money as an exchange instead of a trade or an investment of some sort. So here I go. Okay, so let's first talk about Overstock.com and how that's big. It's unfortunate that China, banned Bitcoin, and I can understand why. I mean, it's a scary thing for a government who controls, um, who governs by control, and that would include the control of wealth, control of money. Like I told you, money is a form of debt, and if you put it this way, for you to pay off your debt, somebody else has to probably get into debt. So you're just taking their debt and exchanging it for credit, basically paying off your whatever debt you have. So it's a really good way to keep people working, right? Um, for the rest of their lives until they die. Well, so of course China would, in my opinion, ban Bitcoin because they want people to work until they die. They need to make cheap stuff, and they need to pump out as from each person as much cheap stuff as they can. So, anyways, so I'm a little disappointed in China that they would ban the use of it. So a lot of the websites that were taking money for it now. So this is a big step for Overstock, and I'm gonna start buying things over there through Bitcoin. Okay, so as more retailers will get into it, um, it's going to be a big move, and more people will benefit. So let me go on to the next one after that because the first thing I talked about was, Bitcoin being accepted as a form of payment now. The next step is how the IRS should, in my opinion, treat Bitcoin. So I believe there's already regulations in place that regulate. Like, for example, if I use my bank to send money, I'm not a money transmitter. My bank is. I just bank there. As a matter of fact, if you really take a definition of money transmitter, wouldn't it be anybody who transmit money? Well, who doesn't have money in their pocket? And don't you go somewhere and with your money? And on top of that, don't you like give somebody your money when you pay for something? The simple definition of being a money transmitter, I mean, isn't everybody transmitting money? I don't know. It seems kind of weird. But anyways, I work through my current banking system. So you can regulate, the law enforcement regulators regulate the banks. You don't have to regulate me. All right. I don't need regulating. I honestly think so far the regulators have done a very poor job of regulating. So it makes no sense for them to make a new law to regulate Bitcoin when they can't even regulate the current laws that are in the books now. So that's my opinion. So as far as how we should treat tax of Bitcoin, in my opinion, if you're using it as an investment tool, it should be, done the same way as it now. I think there's I don't know what it is. Maybe it's gone up, but if you are a genuine trader, like you trade, I think you can report the losses. Like if you lost 10,000, you can report $10,000 in loss. If you made 10,000, you can report 10,000 in gains, but you'd be taxed at a different rate. You wouldn't be taxed at a normal rate like your personal income. You'd be taxed as a trading status. I think that's important because if this is a way for investors to gain wealth, and also anybody else. Not it doesn't have to be high net worth people or institutional investors. It can be everyday people. They can definitely. Most likely everyday people will probably just, if they do make money, they'll just report it as ordinary income. So, and again, there's that option too. If someone is not a trader, profits, just take it as ordinary income. So there's already some laws in place. I think so. The only thing that I would say is, whatever you do, don't tax Bitcoin. Well, first of all, the other thing is, I think the way you should tax Bitcoin is if you realize Bitcoin in whatever fiat currency, and here in America it's the US dollar. So if you realize your gains in US dollars, that's probably what you got to report. That would make more sense, because how can you tax something that's not your currency? Or it's not, considered anything right now, right? As a matter of fact, I mean, all the stuff I'm doing is perfectly legal. I'm doing anything, and you can do anything you want with Bitcoin, because there's no laws for it. But there are some laws for financial instruments. I would say, if you're used to trading stocks or commodities or whatever options, and about trading, you probably already file your taxes. You can treat it something like as a trading status. So that's my point. It can be self-reported. When I was trading forex, they didn't send me a 1092 or whatever, a 1099 saying this is what you did. They didn't do anything. They just said, hey, it's your responsibility to report. Of course, what I reported, a bunch of losses. All right, so when I was trading forex anyway, but I think once you take Bitcoin and realize your gains, and remember, it has to be your gains, not your principal. All right. If I put in $10,000 and I pull out $10,000, well, that's just $10,000 that's already been taxed. That's mine, free to use. So there shouldn't be any point in taxing that. What you want to tax, what you want to report, which IRS wants to probably tax, is any gains that you made. And if you're like me, you'll never make any gains. or the gains will be so small it's not even, taxable or reportable. So, um, I'm in it for the bitcoins. What I'm doing is I'm every trade I make, I'm reinvesting into bitcoins. All right, I'm trying to gain as much bitcoin as I can in a trade. Um, I'm not mining, so the way I get my bitcoins um, is basically I literally I either buy them out in the streets. When I say the streets, I'm talking about Main Street and Wall Street, from individuals, peer to peer, person to person. All right. In some cases, you don't even have to meet them. All right. Um, that's why you use your banks. Anyways, so where I don't want this thing to be taxed, and I think this would be wonderful for the economy, wonderful for Main Street, specifically Main Street, where the real money is being exchanged. Where people's livelihood is affected, is when it's being used as money. I think it should be totally tax-free when it's exchanged for money. Um, what I'm trying to say is, if I'm buying something in Bitcoin, I think the tax should be paid through a sales tax, and then the tax should also be transferred, the risk of the liability of tax should be transferred to the business that accepts Bitcoin as payment. So they're going to convert it to US dollars. They're going to realize that money. And businesses get a lot of breaks because they're encouraged to expand, hire employees, and they get a lot of breaks. And I think you know if I profited on a Bitcoin trade, and I took that profited Bitcoin trade and bought something with it, man, I'm going to be spending money, and it's not going to just go to. I mean, it'll go to anybody who wants to get into this. So, of course, wealthy people will always get into something that makes money. That's why they're wealthy. But anybody, somebody on Main Street can get into this, and they could trade. They could buy and sell both in the real world and in exchanges. Um, and then what they can do is, if they, made any gains, if they wish to use it as money, I would say don't tax the individual, tax the retailer. Once they realize it, and when I say tax, I don't mean when they convert it, tax them. What I'm saying is they're going to convert it as money to get paid, because it's, they need to turn it into legal tender, and then they get a lot of tax breaks for being in business, and that's why I'm saying it should be tax free, because that's going to really generate jobs. It's going to generate cash flow for businesses that need cash flow. It's going to generate profits, and that's where I think the IRS can go in and say, hey, we're going to tax you on the profits. You got, they're stimulating the economy through the use of Bitcoin, and I think that'd be a better way of taxing, a way to tax Bitcoin, because I think it's just gonna, more and more people are going to use it. It's going to become more and more of an instrument, financial instrument, as well as a form of currency, method of payment, method of exchange. So, okay, so that's that. And then what was the other thing that I was going to talk about? Okay, so that was the last part. So that's why Overstock accepting Bitcoins, and hopefully other retailers. I mean, you can also buy gift cards, which I've done. So if we can spend it without being taxed, I would spend it. And the tax liability is transferred to, I guess, like if I bought something from Overstock.com, I buy things, they convert it, they realize the money, and then instead of taxing them when they realize the money, you should really tax them on just like a regular business. They have this many expenses, and they have this many, well, you know how it goes. They have this much money come in, this much money go out. Whatever's left over, that should be taxable. All right. But I think the point is, it's really gonna create jobs versus just printing a lot of money or making the interest rates so low that basically only the wealthy can afford to get the loans. A lot of people on Main Street are missing out. They're suffering. You know, so uh, that's just my opinion. Hopefully, somebody in the IRS is watching this and maybe take some notes from someone who's actually engaged in Bitcoin trade. I just hate to see someone make laws or regulate things they know nothing about. Um, I just, you know, me personally, I think they do a poor job of regulating right now. So I don't know how adding more regulation to something they know nothing about is going to really change anything. And how would you regulate? I mean, are you going to go to Bitcoin? I don't know how to say Bitcoinia. Is there a Bitcoinia that you're going to go and invade and take their, oil or gold or, something? I mean, what are you going to do? Who are you going to complain to, So I'm just trying to be silly, but, this is kind of my silly thoughts. Anyways, that's what I want to talk about this episode because I've been watching the news. Also, another thing. Apparently, and I don't know how true this is because I'm just reading as news comes out. Apparently, the FBI is going to auction off um, the seized bitcoins from Silk Road. So that's kind of interesting. You know, I don't know how they're going to do that, in what way they're going to do that. It's kind of weird. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know how that's gonna. If that's that might be a good thing because that might be a way. The fact that they're auctioning, if they're gonna auction off Bitcoin and take U.S. dollars for it, it's kind of weird for a government to auction off Bitcoins for money, and then at the same time say, you know, Bitcoin is not money. We don't recognize Bitcoin at all. It's just strange. How can a government entity do that? I mean, if they don't recognize Bitcoin at all, then why try to sell it for U.S. dollars? Strange. So I've been reading a lot of articles about how they want to tax overstock and then my input about just how it can help people if it's taxed a certain way. If you're using it as an investment tool and you're cashing it out as an investment tool, it should be taxed. Probably at the currently what as a trader status, it's I don't know. Last time I checked, it was like 15%, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's changed to 18 or 20. I don't know. A lot of things have changed, but I think that's the way to go with it. But if you're going to spend it, if you're trading and you made profits off of it, and if you're going to spend it, I think that's a really good way to get people to spend their Bitcoins. Because right now, we're kind of limited on spending, and not only that, but a lot of us believe, and like I said, Bitcoin's going to go to infinity. A lot of us won't even try to spend it. We're just holding on to it, because we just believe it's going to go up. So, if we spend it as money, let the tax liability go on to the merchant. The merchants have a lot of tax breaks. If it works out for them, they're going to start hiring more people. They're going to expand their businesses. New economies, new businesses are going to pop up. So that should be the way to go. That's going to benefit everybody, including the IRS. So they'll get their kickback. They'll get their protection money. The government will get their protection money. The government protects us from something. I'm not sure, but something, right? So, anyways, until next time, next episode. I know I briefly talked about overstock, but I'll tell you my experience with using Bitcoin as as money because I did buy things with it. I'm just trying to get this on. It doesn't matter. So, so that's the next episode. Next episode. What I'm going to talk about at right now is I'm going to show you. I'm going to go to the chart here. So this last portion here is just a little bit of chart. I've been keeping track of it, and it looks like seems to it's gone up, it's gone back downtrend, it's gone back to an uptrend here, and now you see this line here that I put, which kind of works really well right here. It doesn't do anything back here. I don't see any correlation much, but I see a lot of correlation here as I draw the support line. So it's following this support slash resistance, and on top of that, this new trend here, this new wave of whatever, looks like it's going down. So a way to know if you're to confirm you're in an uptrend or downtrend is first of all, you need to back up. Okay, 12-hour, 6-hour, whatever. An uptrend, a confirmed uptrend would be you see higher highs and higher lows. So example, a higher high up here and a higher low, a higher high from this high and a higher low from this low. So you kind of see confirmed uptrend. It kind of gets a little shady here, but shoots up, and then you got a confirmed downtrend, as in a lower high and a lower low. So the top, here's your lower low, never went higher, your lower low from this low, your lower high from this high, your lower low from this low. So as you know, it broke out of here and slowly made a higher high, lower low from this, higher low from there, and a higher high, a lower low. But then you start seeing this right here, excuse me, you start seeing it's a lower high, but not yet a lower low. It's a lower high. Well, when you start seeing lower highs, you're probably seeing the start of a downtrend. So lower high, but it has to be confirmed by also a lower low, and then you're in a confirmed downtrend. So as of right now, that's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm kind of seeing turn sideways. So it was going up. Have you seen some of my previous episodes on lines and channel trading? It's going up. Now it looks like it's going sideways and also going into a triangle, which very common consolidation. Just people making their trades, wondering if it's going to go up or down, selling and buying, profiting, whatever. And so, in my opinion, it kind of looks like it may start going back down. It's had a good run up back to 1100, almost 1100. Overall, it's still an uptrend because you just back out. Here's the starting point. Here's the ending point. Is it going this way? It's still an uptrend. Now, if we're in a situation like this, where this would be the starting point, and this is the end point. I mean, it's not much of a downtrend versus this uptrend. So technically, it's still going up. So on a long term, you're probably going to see this bounce down. And of course, there's the line here, and I think once it breaks down below this line, it is going to go back down, and it may go down by, I think the next support would be right around here. See this thing right here? This right here, where this is the low right there. That's probably going to be the next support, and that's 700. Let me see. I'm going to find out what the low was. This is a Mt. Gox chart. So the low on that particular 12-hour period was 715. So 715 would be the support line, I guess, at that price right here. Um, you know, I'm just guessing, right? But if you want to know how I think about my trades, for anybody who doesn't know anything about trading, there you go. Just, what I'm doing is I took the last run, and of course this is the support now, and it's been kind of slowly going into this line right here, which kind of really coincides with a lot of the top on this one. And that's why I think it's going to be the bottom, the support's going to be bottom right here, because if I draw this line, typically the tops of your highs become the supports. And so if that's going to be my support, I think this is going to be another, this may be a good support right here. As far as, there's a couple ways you can do lines and follow channels. Another way to find out a support and resistance is basically just look at the highs and the lows, and there's your support and resistance. Like, for example, right here, if you look at these two prices at a price level, where the prices, they match up pretty close, and guess what? That's where the support was when it was crashing down right here. The support was right here, which also happens to be support right here. So, based on past support, you can know where on a downtrend where am I stopped downtrending and going back to an uptrend. So, that this is a good support right here. The next support is also back down to here. You can try to using these other supports like right here, or we're beyond this support right here, but you can try using this support. Right now, I think you just have to go on recent action and realize this is going to be the support, and then the next support is going to be right here, could be right here too, but anyways, if it goes down below here, anything below this price here, that's all a good buy in my opinion. I mean, we haven't seen this kind of pricing since around here. So anyway, that's my quick chart analysis. If anyone's interested, please stay tuned for the next episode. Sorry if this was very long. Next episode I'll try to get into buying things with your Bitcoin. I bought a gift card to Whole Foods so I can get my milk. Alright, so thanks again, and tune in to the next episode. Bye.